Alright, what is up, my gum vegetables? Slop here, back in the finals. You already know what's going on, bro. We are now just about 2 weeks into Season 4 of the finals, and I've been grinding the ever-living piss out of it. Enough so that I would say I do have a fair grasp of all the weapons currently in the game as of patch 4 point whatever it is. Quick disclaimer, I'm not like a top 500 Ruby player by any means, but I have put in several hundred hours into this game across all the modes since the open beta, and it has been pretty much the only game I've played since it released almost a year ago, to the point where I started this channel purely because I like this game so much. That being said, though, and given that I'm not like a pro player by any means, I do feel as though my insight might be a little bit more helpful to the average player and potential new players to the game than maybe like a Ruby player's advice would be. I personally feel that the game is in a mostly balanced state to some extent, and what I mean by that is every weapon currently in the game is viable in that even if it may take a lot more work to become good with or to get the results that you want, it still is possible with everything. That being said, the way that I am going to construct this tier list is going to be based less on the skill ceiling of all the weapons and more on the skill floor and basically how easy it is for like a player to be good with that weapon. So for example, let's say I put gun A in the A tier and gun B in the B tier. What I mean by that essentially is that if you take two players, equal skill, all other things aside, the player who's using the gun in the A tier is going to win probably like 6 out of 10 times against the person who's using the gun in the B tier. Let's say two completely equal skill level players choose weapons from the S tier and the F tier respectively. The player who's choosing the weapon from the S tier is probably going to win against the player choosing the weapon from the F tier like 9 times out of 10 or even more. So yeah, bro, now that you have a little more insight into how we are going to be ranking these weapons, without further ado, let's run that hoe. Alright, bro, first things first, we have the 93R, which is going to be the 3-round burst pistol on the light class that was added with the launch of Season 2. So if you were playing during Season 2, you'll know that not only was this thing absolute dog shit when it launched, but I'm not gonna lie, it's still absolute dog shit now. Don't get me wrong, it's a fun and cool weapon, but the numbers just aren't there. Like, it got a bit of a rework with the launch of Season 4, and they made a note that they are working on trying to bring this to a playable level, but it's just, matter of fact, this is going in F. This shit's so trash. There's no reason to ever choose this gun over the V9S in my opinion. It's just a burst version that I and seemingly everybody else agrees is worse. Alright, next up, the Recurve Bow. If you know me, you know I'm a little biased on this because the bow is definitely my favorite and what I think is the coolest weapon currently or will ever be in the game, frankly. If I'm being completely honest, the bow should probably be like low B, high C tier. I mean, it's like, it's not bad, but it's super hard to be good with. It's an extremely unique playstyle, and also you have to play light to use it, so you're already sacrificing a lot of your health if you're used to playing the other classes. You have to be extremely accurate, you have to charge your shots, and it's also a projectile weapon, which, I mean, it's awesome, and you can be freaking crazy with it, but it's gonna take a lot of work, and it's probably not the weapon you're gonna want to go for if you're just like looking to win or compete well, because the bow is for people who want to use the bow. I mean, it's sick, but it's hard. Frankly, that's it. Alright, SH1900. This probably still C tier. There was a point early, I think it was Season 1 or 2, where this was the most busted meta in the game. It could two-shot a heavy, which, whoo-wee doggy. It can actually one-shot a light and two-shot a medium, but you still need to get 3 shots, which is over 1 magazine on a heavy. And you also need to be insanely close with this, which, I mean, it's possible to get good with, but it's a very unique playstyle and not one that I would probably recommend to beginners or people trying to compete, because it's just rat playstyle. It's not my thing. M26 Matter. This one's a tough call. It's probably going to be high B, low A tier. It's just like a much, much, much better version of the SH1900 in my opinion. It's just like a 8-round pump shotgun instead of a 2-round shotgun, and I think the damages are pretty similar. I think it 2 shots I don't know. If you like shotguns and you like light class, use the new shotgun. Don't use the old one. M11, super slept on. It was just a worse XP54 for the majority of the game's life, but with the launch of Season 4, this got a minor buff, and it also got the addition of that new red dot sight option, and holy piss, this sucker cooks. In my opinion, this is a much more fun SMG than the XP54, and it's better at close range or like point blank range, but as far as like all around weaponry, if you do want to go the SMG route, you're probably going to want the XP54 unless you really dig the M11, like me, because it's sick and I prefer it personally, but try both. V9S, it's tough to say, probably going to be B tier. It just got the addition also of that new red dot sight with launch of Season 4, which makes it leagues better, but I will say I do play on controller, and I feel like that just doesn't really lend itself to this style of like single action tap fire. Like you just, you know, it's not built for controller. I've got a fine enough trigger finger, but like I feel like you really need to be like drag clicking to get the ultimate steez level on something like this, but all around just kind of mid. Throwing knives have had a bit of a rocky history. They were really trash for the first 2 seasons, then they made them insanely busted during Season 3 launch, and then they made them insanely trash again, and then now they reworked it so you can hold the left click throw, so you can like run around just holding it and then release it, such as the new dagger rework also. But I'm not gonna lie, it did improve it definitely, but not enough. It really sucks because I feel like it's impossible for the throwing knives to be easy to be good with and also not be insanely overpowered, because like you either need to make it so you can like one shot headshot and they're really good and also insanely overpowered, or you need to go the route of making them like really hard to be good with, but if you do get really good with them, then they're pretty solid. I mean, it sucks, but it's kind of the fate that it seems that we've got with the throwing knives, is just the constant teeter back and forth. Sword has been pretty freaking sick for the whole game's life. It's always been like a solid, viable choice, but definitely one that you do have to put in a little bit more time than some of the other weapons in the cast. Definitely one of the best and only really viable melee weapons in the game, and with Season 4, it just got a lunge buff. They extended the range for some reason, which I didn't think it needed a buff personally, but it's even better now than it was. So if you think the sword's cool, definitely run it, because yep, I don't know. Alright, sniper rifle, probably going to be in the same scenario as the bow, where like it does have a high ceiling and you could become insanely cracked with it, but it's going to take a lot of work, and they can't make it like super easy to be cracked with, because then it'll just become like a noob stomp farm noob tube type weapon, which nobody wants. They also just made it a projectile weapon with the launch of Season 4, which I know a lot of people are complaining about, but it's like it doesn't really change anything. It just like makes it so people can't cheat as easily. Alright, XP54, probably going to be S tier. I mean, it's just like a solid weapon. I don't really like it personally, but if you want to do well, use the XP54. I mean, it puts out solid numbers at all ranges. It can kill easily close. It can kill easily far away. It's got like a nice sight on it, but the sight's less of an advantage now because pretty much everything has a sight. LH1, this is going to be high C tier, low B tier range. It's no, we'll put it B tier. It's like, it's usable, and the new sight they added for it really helps it, but there's something that does everything the LH1 does but better. And I'd argue the sniper does that too, honestly. If you want to use the LH1, just use the sniper. It's cooler. Alright, and now we have made it to the medium class. First up, we have the dual blades. Holy lord, these things are ass. These things are so bad it hurts. And it sucks because they're dope as hell, and they have some of the coolest skins in the game thus far, but man, there's just zero reason to use these things over the Riot Shield, and it really sucks because the like deflect thing is super dope and it's super fun to use, but the fact that there's not really any mobility options to close the gap with the medium class, which is what this is on, kind of makes them almost impossible to really be viable. In my opinion, there's just literally zero reason where you would ever want to use the dual blades as opposed to the Riot Shield, because if you're playing with people who know what they're doing, they're not going to shoot you and let you deflect the bullets at them anyways, so you might as well just have a shield. Like, they're super dope in theory, but it's just, they don't work. AKM, easily S tier. This is what I consider, like, the finals gun. This is, like, the standard gun in the game. Always a solid choice. I mean, this is your bread and butter, brother. They did actually reduce the mag size by 4 bullets with the launch of Season 4, which, I won't lie, had me a little triggered. I mean, why you gotta do that to us? AK's goated. Don't nerf it, but they gave us a sight, which a lot of people are liking. I'm not gonna lie, I think I still prefer AKM with the iron sights, but the addition of the sight is nice, and I'm digging that a lot of people are enjoying it, so yeah, W. Next up, Riot Shield. This is going to be high C tier, low B tier, definitely above dual blades. It's just the dual blades, but slightly better. Like, but it also has most of the pitfalls that the dual blades do. Like, you still can't close the gap easily between other classes, especially like a light. Brother, if you're rocking Riot Shield or dual blades, chasing down a light is literal hell. They just dash away and you can't do anything. While cool, and I have seen some cracked players, I wouldn't recommend it if you're trying to like just be good. But if you want to use it, it's cool, so use it. Alright, FCAR, we gotta put it in S. I mean, it's just like an AK with slightly better long range, slightly worse close range in my opinion. AK's got a little bit easier to control recoil with a few more bullets, and the FCAR's got a little bit harder to control recoil with a few less bullets, but a few more points of DPS. It's really just a dealer's choice. They're pretty much the same weapon. Just choose which one you like more. Just try them both, especially with the scope now on the AK. That just pick which one you like. Now we've got the brand new Pike 556. This sucker is freaking cracked, bro. Holy piss. I've been rocking it mainly without the scope, but I think most people are preferring the scope on it. I mean, that's just kind of a preference thing. It's super busted, especially if you hit those headshots, bro. This is like 2 headshots a light and medium, I think. I'm not positive on that, don't quote me, but either way, this thing freaking melts. It's got a fat magazine, and it's just like a semi-automatic version of the AK or FCAR, so it's just kind of a playstyle thing. I'd consider all 3 of these weapons like equally good and equally viable. It's just going to come down to which one you jive with and which one really suits you more. Famas, on the other hand, we're gonna put this in B tier. I mean, it's okay, like, it's fine, but if you use the Famas and then you use any of these 3 AKs up here, you'll be like, why would you use the Famas? Like, these are just, they just outperform the Famas in every way. If you like really, really, really like burst weapons, then I guess use the Famas, but you are going to have to be working harder for your kills at every range than you would with any of these 3 weapons, so up to you. Next up, Model 1887. This thing is busted, but I will note, I'm probably a little biased because I don't like shotguns. It's just not my thing, not my play style in this game or any game, but bias aside, this gun's freaking cracked. It like 2 taps a medium, I'm pretty sure, and it's got I think it's a 6-round mag, so it can put in work. You can team wipe a full team if you really were trying. Yeah, all around, probably the best shotgun in the game. No, yeah, definitely the best shotgun in the game, and if you like shotguns, this is going to be the one for you. If you like medium but you don't like AKs, this is going to be the weapon for you. Okay, this is going to be my most controversial opinion without a doubt, but the CL40 I'm going to be putting in A tier. That is right. If you've been following along with the final Season 4 at all, you'll know that people are not happy with the state of this weapon. It got a buff with the launch of Season 4, and it is quite a bit better than it ever was before, I will not lie, but at the same time, I don't personally think it's anywhere near as good or easy to use as everyone's trying to make it seem on the internet. Don't get me wrong, it is solid, and it can definitely put in work, but like, against noobs mainly, like if you come up against people who know what they're doing and have like an APS in their reserve, you're just screwed. Like, let's just analyze this for a second. It has a 4-round mag, and it takes, I think, 6 seconds to reload, and it takes 3 shots to kill a heavy. Yeah, it can definitely be frustrating to fight against, but like, let's compare it to anything else, bruh. Pike 556, it has 12 rounds in the mag, and it can 2-shot a medium. You could kill 6 mediums with 1 mag in the Pike 556. You could wipe 2 teams with 1 mag, and everyone's like, No, pike, that's fine. But then the CL40, it takes a full mag to kill a heavy, and everyone's like, it's overpowered, right? It needs to take 2 mag. Like, what are you talking about? And before you comment, Slop, I hate you, you're the dumbest idiot ever, your opinions suck. I'm not saying that the CL40 is bad by any means. It's solid, and it's in a really good place right now. I'm just saying, I don't think it's, like, super overpowered or super easy to play with. Like, if a noob hops on and picks the CL40, they're probably going to go 0-10 their first match. If that same noob picks up the AK their first match, they'll probably go like 2-5. Like, is it frustrating to play against? Definitely sometimes, especially if you're going against like a 3-man CL40 and they're just like spamming nades on you. Sure, that can be super annoying, but does that mean it's overpowered? Like, I would say going against 3 pikes on medium would be much more frustrating in my opinion, but I don't think the pike's overpowered per se. That's just it's a game, bro. That's like, yes, sometimes it's gonna suck to lose. I don't know what more to say about it. All right, yap aside, Revolver B. This thing, it's okay. I mean, if you can hit your headshots, I mean, this sucker will put in the work for you, but with only 6 rounds in the mag and such a heavy reliance on you hitting like if you don't hit your headshots, you're not going to win the fight, frankly put. And if you do hit the headshots, it's a totally viable weapon, and you will be able to compete against the better weapons, but you're going to have to hit the headshots to be able to compete against people who are hitting body shots on you, which, if you want to do it, you can do it. But, also, the sight that they just added makes it a lot better, though. So if you are a Revolver lover, but you haven't tried the new sight on it, try it out. All right, and now we are on to the heavy class. First up, we got the Flamethrower. This sucker is going to go in C tier probably. It's super dope and definitely one of the cooler concepts for weapons, but it just doesn't really like stand up to a lot of the other weapons. In the open beta, actually, this was by far the most busted meta in the game. It was the only thing anyone was running because they made it so it like flashbanged you when you got hit by the flames, which I'm glad is gone now, but I think this is going to be the same scenario with throwing knives where it's either going to underperform a little bit or like way overperform, and it's really hard to find that sweet spot, and I think it's currently in just a slightly below average threshold. KS-23, I want to love it so much. It's such a cool weapon, and I love the projectile of it. I love the damage it does, but it's just not enough. Like, if I could suggest one rework for this weapon, they just need to make it so that there's a headshot multiplier, because right now it's a slug shotgun, and if you hit him in the head, it just counts as a body shot, which kind of cringe in my opinion, but maybe that would make it super busted, who knows. But where it stands right now, you're honestly better off choosing the majority of heavy weapons over this one. The majority of heavy weapons except spear. Holy shit, this thing's so ass, dude. And it sucks because I would consider this probably top 3 coolest weapons in the game. I just have always thought spears are sick, just in general, but man, this thing's so ass. Like, it's just a sledgehammer, but worse in every single conceivable way, and it also does no damage to structures. Like, I literally could not think of a single benefit or like good thing to say about this weapon other than the fact that it's dope and it's got like some cool skins. Lewis gun, I'm gonna put it in the A tier. It used to be definitely an S tier weapon, but it had a pretty rocky recoil rework back in, I believe it was beginning of season 2, but just now with the launch of season 4, it got another backwards shut up. So now they basically just went back to the same recoil that it had originally in season 1, but I think they kept the damage reduction, but whatever. It's goated. It's definitely a solid heavy weapon, and it's nice to see it returning back to the fold. M60, this one's gonna come out of left field, but I'm gonna put M60 in the S tier. That is right, bro. This weapon I've considered absolute dog shit, never even close to usable for the entire life of the game up until season 4. But along with the Lewis gun, they also made the recoil more controllable on the M60, and I believe they also gave it like 1 or 2 more DPS, and the M60 got the addition of the new red dot sight. And that thing makes this melt, bro. The M60 with red dot, in my opinion, it's just kind of like the new FCAR. And it has such a fat magazine. If you're like new and you're struggling with the time to kill, or you're struggling with the time to kill but said differently, then I recommend trying out the M60 with the scope, because this sucker, it's solid and it's really easy to use. Do it. Now we're talking. We got the 50 cal Akimbo Desert Eagles. These suckers are cooking, bruh. Probably my favorite weapon with the launch of Season 4, just because they're dope as hell and they're solid, but are they S tier? I wouldn't say so. When I first tried them out, I thought they might be a little OP and overtuned, but as I've played them a little bit more, I've learned how much they really rely on you hitting headshots. But apart from that, they are a really good weapon. You just do need to really try to hit your headshots, more so with this than a lot of other weapons. But if you do hit the headshots, these things chunk fools, bro. MGL 32 F tier. Oh, I'm not even gonna talk about this. This thing sucks so bad. Okay, next weapon. SA 1216 B tier. It used to be beyond busted, S+++ best weapon in the game, and thankfully they made it trash, which I'm fine with. I don't like shotguns, and I don't like this one especially. It's not really fun to play with, in my opinion. If you want to use the heavy class, I'd probably try to steer you towards the Deagles or the M60. But if you like shotguns and you like heavy, run the SA-1216. But just know that I think you're lame. Alright, last weapon in the game. We've got the Sledgehammer, which this might also be a controversial pick. I'm going to go Sledgehammer in the A tier, brother. That is right. It's an all-around dope and super solid weapon, and especially if you can like learn how to like time your overhead swings on people walking around corners and shit, then you just delete people and they don't even know where you're coming from. This one probably might take a little bit more getting used to than some of the other weapons in these higher tiers, but I think that it's overall just like viability and just solidness makes it worthy of the A tier. And I will say this is probably the only weapon in the game that marries both doing damage to people and structures in like a good way. When you look at something like the KS-23, I would argue that it's good at breaking walls but not really people. Or you look at something like the CL-40, it's good at damaging people but not really walls. Like, it takes, I think, 6 or 7 grenade shots to break a wall with the CL-40. But like, what? That something ain't right on that, brother. But with the Sledgehammer alt fire, it's just overhead smash through anything. It's just you one shot through a wall, and you can also use that same attack to like one shot lights and do fat damage to other players. So all around super goated weapon, kind of slept on in my opinion, and just awesome, frankly. That's it. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that does bring our The Finals Season 4 weapon tier list to a close. I'm thinking we did a pretty solid job, bro. I'm liking the way this is looking, but I would love to hear your thoughts. Are you like, Slop, this is the greatest tier list I've ever seen? Or are you like, Slop, I still don't forgive you for the CL-40 A tier placement? But yeah, bro, let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts, but be warned, I will argue with you. But ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, that is going to be all she wrote for today, but we will be right back on that Season 4 grind tomorrow. So if you'd like to follow along, make sure to like and subscribe, or you're a stupid weenie face. We will be shaving the dome bald at 1K subs, so tap in already, bruh. But other than that, thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow. Slop out.
Sticking out your yacht for the Rizzler. You're so skibbity. You're so Phantom Tax. I just wanna be your Sigma.